So I'm thinking about things that we use in our lives that are automatic in our lives, and we couldn't imagine not having these things in our lives. I'm thinking of door handles. I'm thinking of toilet flush. Those things. But now I'm thinking about the light switch, the electric light bulb. Oh, so obviously, in the course of a day, you turn on loads of lights, and it's kind of automatic to use lighting. And I couldn't imagine living life without having lights in every room or whatever, because it would be really awkward to not be able to see stuff and to use candles and whatever to get light. So a light switch light bulb absolutely essential and automatic in life. And I couldn't imagine not living with the light switch in every room in the house. And I'm wondering how we could have lived with candlelight all the time, and that the world was just dark a lot of the time. And then some man realized that we could have light automatically with the light switch, when before we were using candles to be able to see. And then some man realized we could make it more efficient, automatic using electric light bulb. And I'm wondering how the concept of a light switch ever came into some guy's head. How did he realize that it would be possible to see without a candle? How do you even get that idea? Where does the concept for it come from? How does some man imagine it would be possible and then proceed to find the electric light bulb fix? And it's making me wonder what else is going on in our lives that we could find a fix for one day. And then we will become dependent on this fix in our lives. And we wouldn't be able to imagine living without this thing as we do now. We wouldn't be able to imagine life as it is now because we would be so dependent on this fix that we have. So the light bulb and light switch, that's one of those things I'm thinking. And then I'm thinking of the television and telephone. Telephone just seems automatic and essential to have now. But there was a time when we didn't have telephones. And then some man realized that it would be possible to communicate with someone far away who you couldn't even see. I'm wondering, how did the concept that it would be possible to communicate with someone that you couldn't see whatever or hear them or whatever, how did the idea for a telephone come into some man's head? How did the very concept it would be possible to communicate with someone that you couldn't see or hear directly? How did the very idea for that come into some man's head? I don't see how it's possible when I'm thinking about it now. I don't understand how the concept of the telephone came into any guy's head. How is it possible to get that idea that it would be possible? I don't know how the idea could possibly have come into anyone's head. It's a mystery how it's possible to get the concept of the telephone. And then there's the computer, for example, a machine that can do practically anything. A multifunctional device that could be configured to do so many things, and you could just program it to do these things. What's striking me now is that there are things in the way we live our lives now that we are dependent upon. But there was a time when we didn't have these things in our life. So I'm thinking about a pair of shoes or whatever. And then I'm thinking about a pair of socks to make wearing the shoes more comfortable. But there was a time when we wore shoes without socks, and then we used to get blisters all the time. And then some guy realized that we could avoid getting blisters by using socks. Again, it's hard to understand how the idea it would be possible to prevent blisters, because it would seem if we were using shoes initially and our feet got blisters, it seems to me we would assume that this was just the way things were. If you wore shoes, you got blisters, but you had to wear shoes to protect your feet. But you accepted that blisters were part of the solution. It's just the way it was. I don't know how some man realized that blisters could be prevented and then invented a pair of socks. I think that's really impressive how someone had the genius idea that it would be possible to prevent blisters. So it's making me wonder what else is going on in life now, in the way we live, that we assume has to be that way. But then one day we will find a solution to this thing so that we don't need to do it anymore and make our lives easier. And we'll become dependent on this fix. And then we wouldn't be able to imagine living without it as we do now. And it's bound to happen that there's something that goes on in our lives that we will fix. And then we wouldn't be able to imagine living without it. So I'm thinking now about urinating, going to the toilet and doing a wee. There might be some method that we could use one day that would make going to the toilet unnecessary to do a wee. Some machines on the device to make life easier. And it might be possible, I don't know. But it just is stunning to try and think of all kinds of things that could be improved upon in life. But the basic idea is to get the concept for the fix in the first place, because it might not even occur to you to understand that it could be improved upon in some way. So I don't know, for example, if we have any concept that urinating could be improved upon in some way. So I know if we improved on the toilet by inventing the toilet flush, there might be some other method, some technique we could invent that would make urinating unnecessary or make it easier in some way. So that's possible, I suppose. But it's just amazing how the concept for some change, some improvement needs to enter the brain, and then a fix can be created, and then our lives will be improved as a result. So it is interesting to wonder what kind of things we are doing in our lives now that could be improved upon. But the critical factor is to get the concept that a fix will be possible, and then we proceed to find a fix. But the initial thing is to get the idea it will be possible to improve on this thing. So I'm thinking going to the toilet might be possible to improve on that necessity in life. I can't think of any solution necessarily, but the point is, I'm thinking that it might be possible to improve on going to the toilet. Um, what else is there? I'm not sure what else, but the bottom line is the first thing that has to happen is an idea that it could be improved upon. It comes to the head, and then methods can follow from that.